Yeah, so as we said quite quickly before in the round, we have been using Eiffel for 4 years.
Something like that.
Something like that. And so what we mainly do is we mainly use it to gather data, to analyze different metrics and to do visualizations. So that's what we do. And we have through the time used and kind of built a lot of smaller services around the Eiffel infrastructure that we're using that are very specific to our needs. At Nasdaq, we are a lot of different teams and we have acquired a lot of new companies that comes in all the time with new different tools or way of doing things. So yeah, we have a lot of things that we need to cover in order to do something, try to do something that can fit everyone's needs, basically.
The annoying part is that we don't even have one Git repository or something. We have both old Jenkins, Bitbucket, GitLab.
Yeah, so we're basically using everything. But yeah, you can see here some of the things. For instance, yeah, we have like custom GitLab and TeamCity plugins. Yeah, Bitbucket and Grafana and Jira. Yeah. So this could be a picture that I found from before, something to try to visualize how we're doing things. So yeah, we have a lot of third-party services as Jenkins, GitLab, Jira, Bitbucket, and those we have plugins for that basically are generating different events that are sent that says something about what's happened. And yeah, we're using RabbitMQ as our broker, and we're using Eiffel Intelligence and Event Repository. And the Eiffel Intelligence broadcasts the events, and we have a few subscribers that are listening to those events. And we act upon those and save like an aggregation about what's happened in the database. And then we have different tools that we try to visualize something about what has been messaged. So these are some, I think it's almost covering all the events we're using. I might have missed one. But as someone mentioned before, our journey starts in the source code changed event. And usually after that, a build is triggered, and we then have a composition defined event that kind of compose those source code changed that is related to that build. We send a build started or an activity triggered. Here, maybe you can note that we're actually not using the activity started. And I don't really know why we decided to do that, but I think it's quite natural also when you maybe start out with Eiffel that it can be a lot to introduce every single event, and you can do it really proper big way, or you can take some shortcuts. Yeah, and yeah, when the build is finished, we're representing that as an activity finished event. And usually after that, maybe an artifact has been created. So we have the artifact created event. And then we have also adapted and using the confidence levels to say something about what is happening or the level of achieved confidence in the system, which we also communicate. And yeah, we also added a custom event. Which is to represent that the InfoSec or any scanning tools has been done. And we recently also introduced the Eiffel environment defined to say something about the test environment that which we are executing tests. And we have test suite started, test case started, test suite finished, and issue defined event to represent the ticket. And yeah, these are the confidence levels we have defined throughout our pipeline. And as you can see here are the additions of the InfoSec tools, which we usually these ones are kind of executed in a serial way. So you have to achieve the confidence level 1 before you can reach 2 and so on. But since some of these scanning tools can take a lot of time and can be quite time consuming, we are kind of running those in parallel. And these are kind of the final system and everything that basically representing that something is finished to be delivered to a customer. Yes, I'm going to show a bit about how we are or what we have built around this in terms of like visualizations. For instance, I mentioned we're using Grafana. We have built a lot of these kind of custom dashboards where you can kind of track and see what's happening and how your project is achieving in terms of confidence. And yeah, you can see the different commits and artifacts, for instance. Just blurred out a bit here, but also we are working on like a revamp of our visualizations, and these are some of the drafts we have right now. Here you can only see one project, which is Eiffel, which kind of represents all of our services. But yeah, you can imagine here you would have, for instance, all the different projects at Nasdaq, and so you'll get a quite good overview of some very important KPIs, and that's also something that the projects use to set their goals throughout the year, basically. And this is just one of the tabs, so we're working on a few others. And then other things we have played around with is also to do like more trend metrics. For instance, here, yeah, you can see you have the Eiffel portfolio, which consists of different projects, and yeah, we can get some trend data about. In this case, it is the coverage, code coverage, for instance. And also, what we want to do is to also be able to look at each commit to see that we have fulfilled all these KPIs, but also that we have passed the InfoSec tools, for instance, on a single commit, everything. So yeah, that's mainly what we use it for, to try to do some visualizations.
Any questions?
Yes, one question. We go to slides that has general architect for. If you go to slides that have the for tools we have that use MongoDB and Postgres.
Yeah.
Yes. So here I see you have two storage. One of them for storing the events MongoDB.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other for Postgres. So what we store in this?
Yeah, we in MongoDB we only store their events. Everything that comes in is getting stored there, and then we use the application here, Eiffel 2DB, which essentially gathers them together, processes them a bit, and makes it a bit more representative of what's happening right now. It has, I think, a few tables specifically just for dashboards that some projects requested. They maybe want to see the tag view or something. So it kind of takes in all of the events and transforms them a bit, makes it more accessible. Yeah.
So the visualization there in Human and Grafana, they don't really work on for events, your Eiffel data?
No,
we worked on your own internal representation of the data.
Yeah, so we transform it first
Yeah.
in different ways. For instance, we want to, for instance, join on commit and aggregate a lot of different scannings and Sonar Cube and yeah. So one interesting thing that we have tried or that we have done quite recently is also to try to represent tagging. And yeah, I think that's something that for us, it wasn't really obvious how to do that in terms of how the protocol is defined, because it's not something that's contained in the source code changed event. So how we actually decided to do that was to use a composition defined event to represent a tag. With a tag, I mean when you tag something in your version controlling system. So that's a recent thing we have done, and also quite recently we have introduced the environment defined, and we're also now looking into the artifact deployed, the new event. Yeah, but we're still quite behind in terms of the version of the protocols. So that's something we also have to look into.
Compared to Ericsson,
Any more questions?
What was the reason for creating a separate event? Because it was basically a competence level modified event.
We wanted another service to listen to them specifically, and so it would be easier to route it separately. And because when we send that event, we send it from a build chain, essentially from some build tool, and we only send that a scan has just happened or something, and then we want one service to go in and take in all of the results from that scan and kind of process them a bit.
Maybe it could have been with maybe announcement event or something, but yeah, it's not really a confidence level. It's more like, hey, a scan has been done. And it's not really containing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
not successful or failed. It's just information about some announcement.
Yeah, maybe.